Morning, everybody. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, tired. But great, great. I just left it all on the table at Big Sky. Went to everything I could. Did all the inner work, which you know is tiring. And I'm back refreshed. Although I'm tired, I'm refreshed. That's crazy, isn't it? But there you go. There you go. Yeah, retired. Anyway. So we all know who we are. Thank you all so much for being here. Those of you who are in the room, and those of you who will be watching us now live or later on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel or even on our website. We appreciate you being here. So we all know that what we do here is just teach. This is about having a great life, the best life that we can. And while we don't control everything, we can't. We can control what we can, our own thoughts, our own feelings, explore this inner world that leads to our outer world. And that's what we do here. Think about what we're thinking about all day long and what we're drawing in and what we want to change and what we say no to and what we say yes to. All of these are decisions we get to make. And so that's what we do here, explore that. Explore, something's ringing back a little bit, explore who we are, what our life looks like, and what we'd like to claim moving forward. And we're here to help each other and still a little bit of ringing. And the rest of the world. We serve the rest of the world as well. So last week you had fabulous Scott McDowell speaking. And when I saw your talk, break into the piece within a break piece, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to see what that. I think it's mine. Maybe it's too loud. I see that you are. And so I loved your example of ice fishing. Exactly. I love that. And the fact is that while we want peace, there are lots of things that come into our lives that we can let get in the way. And so I think the whole idea was, and is to be vigilant. Yeah, vigilant, I have that word. Vigilant, if you want peace, about that and claiming that. And I think that's about everything we do in our lives. Because other things just sneak in, and before you know it, you're not peaceful. I'm going to tell you an example of last night, because I was tired and I was not peaceful. At Walmart. Shouldn't have gone. But I'll tell you I won't tell you at the end of the talk. But it was crazy. But I caught myself a little late, but I caught it. better late than never. And so today I want to talk about what do you want? That's the title, is what do you want? And the reason why I talk about that is because we always say that. I want this, I want that, I want this. And then you hear the word want? That's about lack, right? This is what we teach. This isn't about what we want. It's about what we claim, yeah? It's about what we decide upon. So our language is important, and as I talk about it, speak what you seek. So if you say, I want something, you're seeking lack and want and desire something out there. And so our words need to be affirmative and positive and about what we're bringing into our lives. So every year, the reason why I go to Big Sky is for me. I go to other places, and it's about you guys too, because if I'm not good, if I'm not doing my work, how do I ask you to do yours? And so Big Sky, every day I do work, but Big Sky is where I do the big work. It's where I claim what I want coming into the new year and release what wasn't working for me or what I found I don't want to continue into the next year. And that's what I do at Big Sky, is to do that. So what we talk about there, and what I want to share with you, is that we look at setting an intention. What is your intention for the year? And it's not a big deal. Like, we don't sit there and write a whole tomes and volumes and chapters because we can't do that. It's what is the basic intention. And we actually set a one-word intention. And all of it has to be to do with whether or not the reason why it can work or why it doesn't work, when it doesn't work, is that we have to be introspective. And one of the things that we talk about, this is a truth teaching, right? A truth teaching, meaning we teach the truth in terms of universal laws, what is true for everyone. So how we speak, the words we talk, what we draw in, all of this is truth. But the other truth that we speak is our personal truth. You have to be truthful with yourself, and I can tell you right now, that is a hard road to walk. Isn't it? I mean, you don't want to admit or claim things that we see in our own selves and our own minds as lack or something we don't want to be or do. But the fact is, if we don't see the truth, we'll never change it. If we don't admit this whole breaking into the ice fishing, if you don't chip away at that, you won't get to the fish. You won't get to the peace. You won't get to who you say you are. Because as you're saying who you are, as I'm claiming, I'm all about, I mean, what is my biggest thing is unconditional love. Well, courage is one. I mean, the first thing is my spirit, my relationship with God. Second thing is courage, because it takes courage to do everything, to decide, I'm going to walk up to this person and say, I'm so sorry, I messed up. I didn't mean to treat you this way. So I have to own that I messed up and apologize and hope that they accept it. If they don't, it doesn't matter. That's on them. But you have to do that. And the third thing I always say that I walk in life with is unconditional love. That I see God, the divine, in everyone I look at. And yet last night at Walmart, got a little harder. Got a little harder. And it wasn't about, it's never about someone else, is it? Right? That is, to me, that's the good news. It's never about someone else. It's always about you. And that means that you get to change things. If you own that, if you know it's about you and find out what your part is in it, you can release anybody else's part and do what's yours and then move on. So I'm tired, and I hopped out of the car. That's about 9 o'clock or so. And I hopped out of the car without my purse. What in the world? Just waltzing into Walmart, no purse, so no money. Did all my little shop. I just wanted to get 2 things. I just wanted some milk and some juice. That's all I wanted. So went in, got my juice and milk, walked up and realized I didn't have my money. Doggone it. So I walked over to the checkout, the do your own checkout. It was a young man. And I said, excuse me, sir, I just want to leave this here and go out to my purse, get my purse and come back. He wasn't even, like, I'm right here to the side talking. He was looking forward, not even looking at me. He goes, yeah, go ahead. I left it and walked. And in my mind, I'm thinking, he wasn't even looking at me. He didn't even see me. I'm going to come back in here, and this stuff going to be gone. Somebody's going to put it away. He didn't pay no attention at all. So I'm fuming. Just all kinds of stories in my head about this kid. I can't, young people. This is the words for old people, right? Young people. He didn't even look at me. He didn't even see me. I'm going to go in. He's not going to even know who I am. So I walked back in with my purse, and he was just standing in front of me because he was helping someone else. He was walking back to his station, and I'm walking by. He said, "Stop following me." He goes, "No, I'm just kidding. Here's your stuff." So not only was he a fun kid, not only did he know who I was, he was playing with me when I came back in and kept my stuff. So everything I thought about him was in my own head because I was tired, right? And I had to immediately try. I didn't apologize to him because he didn't know what was going on in my head. But I said to myself, see, there you go. And there is it where you don't always do who you claim you are. I did not see him as a divine person. I was tired. And so here's the point of that story. You are who you claim you are. And if you don't always show up that way, give yourself some grace. That's a one-off. That's not who I normally am. And I was super tired. And I recognized and claimed and realized it was me. I didn't blame him. After I finished blaming him, I stopped blaming him. My point is we're just human beings. So while we're doing all of this truth work, and we're always looking to see where we can change, what we can do, we're still human beings. Give yourself some grace, like you do everybody else. You give everybody else forgiveness, but we hardly ever forgive ourselves. We go on and on about stuff that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, still carrying on, and won't even forgive our own selves while we're seeking to forgive others. The truth is this. You guys know this is the truth. I'm just going to repeat it. The truth is obvious. Still, we got to say it. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot do what you don't do for yourself, for others what you don't do for yourself. If you don't love yourself unconditionally, how in the world can you love anybody else unconditionally? If you don't forgive yourself for the things you think you've done wrong, how do you forgive anybody else? You don't. So the work is always comes back to you. Everything you're thinking about. And to me, I don't know if you see it the same way, but to me, that is the most powerful thing in the world, to know that it's you. And you can just change how you think. You can change how you feel and that changes everything for you, and live how you say you want to live. No one is in control of that. No one is in control of your mind, of your thoughts, of your memories. I was talking to a friend. We have a mutual friend, and we're talking to Pat and Glenn. We have a mutual friend, and we're talking about things in the past, things parents did, our old church did, and we can do that. We can talk about how we were raised, because it's shocking to me how many things I still do based on how I was raised. I'm not going to say my age, but I'm not no spring chicken, but been around a while. So to think, in my mind, to think, and that's okay to do things that you were raised with. My parents raised me with a lot of great things. I walk in the room, and people say, you walk like you own the place. You walk in like you're a queen or whatever. And I do. I know that. And I'm not ashamed of that. I know that's who I am. That's from my parents. That's from my parents. That they love me unconditionally. So I get that gift from them. But the things that don't work, why do I still want to blame my parents? I'm a grown-up now. I'm a grown-up. I can dismiss anything that doesn't work for me. Yeah, you just let it go. Anything that's not working, say, oh, you know what, Mom and Dad, that was great, and in your time, or whatever, however you want to say it, this doesn't work for me. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose something different, how we get control of our lives. So if we can do it for parents and grandparents and everybody who raised us, and who we give a lot of respect to, and they just have a lot of power in our lives, if we can let go of that, we can let go of anything. We can let go of anything somebody has told us. And so the woman was talking about, she was still angry at some things that her parents did. And I said, well, perhaps we should work on some forgiveness work. Maybe we can work on that. She goes, what does that got to do with it? Yeah. And so when we talked about it, she goes, oh my God, I never connected that. Never connected that if she forgave them for whatever it was she's blaming them for, the anger will melt. Forgive, and the anger is gone. And so I remember thinking, I was in my 40s, and I had a conversation with my father about something that I was pissed off about. That's the only time you have a conversation with your dad, pretty much. And I've been hanging on to this for a long time, and I was angry with him, so I talked about it to him. He had zero memory of it. Zero memory. I'm 40 years old and hanging on to something that I claimed in my mind that had happened to me because of this man, and he has no memory of it. So I'm thinking, oh Lord, so I'm the only one carrying this burden? Drop it. Drop it. It was as simple as that. As soon as I realized he didn't remember, I dropped it. So, well, why am I hanging on to it? Why am I hanging on to it? There'll never be any reconciliation about this. He doesn't remember it. So let it go. It's my life now. That moment on, I talk about you guys to share it, but it doesn't hurt me, it doesn't hurt my heart. Nothing. That's the power that we have. So it's not about things that you want. I want this. I want somebody to love me. I want my father to acknowledge whatever it is. That's always going to be in the future. That's never going to happen. What's going to happen is what we claim. I'm claiming a great life. And in order to do that, I have work to do, and I'm willing to do it. Are you? Because you're in charge of your life. So whatever's not making it good, decide why that is. And what's yours to do? We were at a meeting the other night, and someone was talking. He just leans over and goes, so what's yours to do? What is yours to do? That is a powerful statement. And that's a powerful question you can ask yourself. Because when you know that, you're back in charge of your life. And to me, that's what this is about. I don't want someone outside of me, anyone else in charge of my life but me. I'm the only one that knows where I want to go or should know. And if I don't know, then it's up to me to figure it out, right? I don't want somebody. And doesn't that always mess you up when somebody tells you how you're supposed to be living? Yeah. So, yeah. Amen. So if we don't want somebody telling us how we're living, then why don't we tell ourselves? Why do we wait until we get permission from somebody else when we don't want them telling us how to live anyway? So go ahead, right? Isn't that crazy? But that's how we do it. And we don't have to. We can just say, nope, I'm in charge. If I'm not doing it, it's on me. If I'm not having it, it's on me. Power. That's powerful. That's powerful. So the other thing that I wanted to just tell you about the story I want to tell you is what do we claim? Because I said claim your life. Decide what you want. Instead of saying I want, just claim it. I am. Not even I will, because I will puts it out. further, and you always will be, always will be, always will be. I am now. Even though it may not physically be in the present space, claim it now in the spiritual space. You say, I am spiritually, and wait for the manifestation. That's how this works. So you claim it now, calling it in. But also, we claim things that we don't necessarily want to come in. And that's back to what I was talking about with the things that my parents told me, things that your parents told you. We relive these stories. So it's important that you think about the stories you tell yourself. What stories do you have playing in your head? How do you know what's right and what's wrong? Some things it's because your parents told you and you agree with it. And some things you can look at it and go, I don't think that is right for me. Have you ever thought about that? Just thinking about what I believe is right, but I believe it's right because somebody else told me it was right. I've shared this story about so there's a couple of stories that I shared, but there was a story about and this is the right or wrong, but I was wrong. I love traveling with my parents because I'm a person, and the theme or the subject of discussion at Big Sky was belonging through community, belonging. So everywhere I went, everywhere my family traveled, I always felt like I belonged. I didn't have a problem with it. I would find a group that were doing things I liked, acting or singing or even study groups or whatever. I just found groups that I liked and would join. Even when I traveled to Phuket or Vietnam, that's what I did. I found groups that were doing things that, even if they were doing things that I didn't know how to do, it's like, oh, I'd like to do that. Hey, tell me how you do that. And just join right in. I have no problem with that because people love to talk about themselves. My assumption was the truth that I shared was, or that I thought was, we all liked it. All of my siblings. Not so much. That was a lie. That was not the truth. That was not their truth. But I shouted it to the world like it was everybody's truth because it was mine, right? That's what I'm talking about. And so finally my little sister stopped me and she goes, hey, I'm sick of you telling that story. I'm sick of it. That is not our story. That's your story. I hated it. Terry hated it. We all hated it. You're the only one that liked it. What? I was older when I heard that from them. You know, and so it just made me think, okay, so you're just claiming stuff and acting like everybody agrees. And they don't. So this is what we do. We're telling a story, or saying this is what I believe. This is the truth. Everybody knows this. Everybody does not. Stop saying that. Everybody does not. You do. And it's okay if you do. But the assumption that everybody does. So what I'm saying to you is to question your stories, even for you. And whether or not they're true for you still, right? We change, we grow. What's true for me at 10, at 20, at 30, do you get it? At 40, these things change. This worked for me at this age. I need to let it go at this age. I'm too old to hang on to that. I know more than I did then. I can let that go, but we're still living like that is a truth. And it is a truth, but it's not working. It's a truth for a 20-year-old, not a truth for a 40-year-old. Or a 60-year-old, or whatever it is. So we're constantly having to, and that's work. I understand. I'm asking you to go to work. I'm not just asking you to go to work. I'm asking you to stay at work. It's not, it would be lovely if we could understand something and say, okay, I'm there, I'm done, I'm fixed. I know what to do now. And you get knocked right off of that peg every time. Every time. It's not. It's continual work. I think it's not easy. It's simple, not easy, but it's so rewarding. It's the life of truth, my life that I want to live. Who I am. Who are you? And live the way who you say you are. I am a person who sees the divine in everyone, except when I'm at Walmart. And clearly, because that didn't happen last night. So now there's an exception to that truth that I have to deal with. And so if that's the truth, then how do you, and I have to work on that. That's mine to work on, yeah? And I realize it afterwards. I don't want to realize it afterwards. I want to realize it beforehand. I want to be able to see everyone, no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing, as the divine, okay? So that's my work to do now. I get that. You see, it's always work to do. When you have a revelation, it's not a bad thing. It's just a revelation. You decide what you want to do with it. That's all. Just decide what you want to do with it. So what do? So we're going to watch out for the stories we tell. I always leave you action steps. Listen to the stories you tell as you're speaking them. Just hear yourself talk. Because sometimes we talk when we're not even. One of the things that I say to my family all the time, the kids in my family all the time, is like, do you hear yourself? Because people talk, but they're not actually hearing what they're saying. So somebody says that, and that's a racist comment. Yeah? Did you hear yourself? What's racist about that? Oh, yeah, I didn't say it. You said it. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Clarify. What are you saying? Are you just repeating something you heard on TV? Do you even know what that means? You're just talking. So do you hear yourself? So do you hear yourself when you're speaking? Don't just keep talking. Listen to what you're saying and see if that's still true for you. If it was ever true, who knows? But that's what I say. So number 1, 3 extra steps. Listen to your stories as you're speaking them. Decide if this story is the story you want to tell. Now, I love being up here and telling you guys embarrassing stories, which because life is like that. It's okay. I mean, if you're not okay with being embarrassed, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. That's how life is. You're going to be. But forgive yourself and decide you're not going to do this again, or try not to do this again, and move on. Okay? That's all. Just move on. Move on. No big deal. And if the story you tell is the one you want to tell, if it's yes, then keep on. If it's no, then ask yourself, what story do I want to tell? If this isn't it, what is it? Find out what that is and tell that story. That's it. Listen to your stories. Decide if this story is the story you want to tell. And if it is, keep it. And if it's not, tell another one. That is it. Okay? So I just want to leave you with this thought. There's no usefulness in saying the word want or I need. There's no usefulness in that. In fact, it's a negative. It'll draw what you don't want. The universe is abundant. It's abundant. We know this is what we're saying. So claim what you want. Claim the good. Allow it in. Just allow. There's not a whole bunch of work other than, looking at what you're saying, the work for you. But as far as the universe is concerned, the universe is already here. God is everywhere present. However you see it, everywhere present. So just allow God to flow through you, to speak through you, to speak as you. That's all. Just allow it. Allow it to happen. I'm going to leave you with this final quote, story. The stories we tell literally make our world. If you want to change the world, change your story. This truth applies to individuals and to institutions. Michael Margolis, he's a speaker and he's a founder of a company called Storied, a strategic messaging firm. That's it. Just tell your story. Tell your story. Listen to your story and change it if it's no longer working for you. And always, always just claim your good. I am whatever it is you want to claim, and so it is. Namaste.